guys, what up? Currently 9:08 p.m. I'm starting my next vlog, and I will see you lovelies in the morning. Good night. Yeah, I have to clean this weekend. I have to clean. Oh my god. I'm tired. I'm grumpy. And I had a panic attack at the mall. I know nobody can see that close up, but I don't really care.
It's kind of like you can't buy a house that has a lien on it. You know, the title company has.
Hi guys, what's up? I'm on my ride. I'm just waiting. Those are the pickup and then the drop off, and then I'm going to school. Oh my god, it looks like I've like sliced my nose open with like a friggin' razor blade or something. It actually looks really quite painful. Oh my. I look rough. Okay. See you in a bit. Bye.
DM702CRT, are you writing up your MD for the MDG?
Jesus, seriously.
DM716-305.
You're making Snapchat stories.
Hmm?
You're making Snapchat stories.
Yeah.
I love Snapchat. I don't even use it.
I actually have a YouTube channel, so that's how I get my footage.
That's weird. What's your YouTube channel, man?
Just look up Brenna Elise Dugan and you'll be good.
What do you make on your videos?
Yeah.
What do you make on your videos?
Just vlogs. Like, nothing really special.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's good, eh?
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Both of yours, did you drop at the heritage? What time did you drop?
So pretty. The thing is, my driver just asked about my YouTube channel. So, yeah. Very nice, actually. He's very nice. I bet he was hoping that was his tip. Just joking. Anyway, I'm very sleepy.
Kresge was the guy. You've asked this question a few times. WrestleMania 2000, a McMahon in every corner, the Fatal 4-Way. That was Kresge's idea, and that was something that he came up with, was to put a McMahon in every corner.
That sucked, by the way.
So, well, you know, some people liked it, some people didn't, but it was something that he came up with when we didn't have a lot of different guys, and we didn't have the talent that we needed for WrestleMania, and that was the best salvage of the whole thing. So, but much love to Chris Kresge, much love to Amelia and her husband, who is a big fan, and I'm glad I got to talk to her, and we'll get all this out.
She sent a seething promo of a DM.
She did.
I mean, I really wanted to. I might even post it on Patreon. It's fucking awesome.
No, we're not going to post it. It was private, and she
No.
kept it private.
She tried to eat through your ass, and it was hilarious.
No. She did.
Video that was submitted for that round of Tough Enough. I guess we should tell you there's 6 judges this season. You had Al Snow, John Laurinaitis, Bill DeMott, Kevin Dunn, Fit Finley, and Big. Those are your 6 judges. So the first day, all 50 candidates are required to run through what they called a level 4 obstacle course that was set up by Raphael, who has also worked with WWE on Tough Enough tryouts. And I think he's done some stuff with JR, right?
I don't know. I don't know if it's the same Raphael. I don't know that Raphael has experience setting up obstacle courses, but yeah, Raphael's been with, but he's been with the company from New York, and a marketing guy, promotional guy, and one of the best on the ground guys you're ever going to find.
So one of the things they had to do here is a bench press test where each candidate has to press 225 pounds, which is basically the standard at like the NFL
About
Combine.
Daniel Pewter and the stuff that we did in the arenas, I did get more involved in that, just trying to the people that they had doing the Tough Enough, and his only on camera was through the process that he normally would have been involved in.
So why was he here then? I guess that's my question. If we know there's a guy who's a little reluctant about doing it, he's this high up, was this Vince McMahon saying, damn it, you've got to do it?
Reality. God damn it, I want the real people that are doing it. And that was the reason for it. He wanted it reality based, and Kevin was one of the people that was highly involved in this process. So Vince wanted to record it. Vince wanted it on camera.
How did Johnny Ace like the opportunity to be back on camera? He had been behind the scenes a little bit at this time.
A lot. I especially liked it because a lot of times Vince would be off camera, and I was close enough that I could get him hot coffee. And when he would grab his coffee, his arm would flex. God, it was vascular. And in the hot California sun. Then Bill DeMott was somebody that they wanted to put in that role, and Bill fancied himself a trainer, and I think Johnny liked Bill DeMott as a trainer. In Fit, just because he's a tough old Irishman and I'll kick your fucking head off. That was it. I mean, Fit was also on the roster at the time, so it was a way to have like a current talent that does have an eye for talent as well. That being Fit Finley.
Chat me up about Big. He's a name that has really become, I don't know, a staple in wrestling over the last 15 years, and seemingly out of nowhere. Give everybody the background and what his role was and why he was the right guy for this.
Well, Big was one of Kevin Dunn's best friends from Baltimore. When the original Tough Enough started, they needed someone to come in and handle production, and Big had handled some different production in Baltimore, had a production company that at the time he was friends with Kevin, and he fit that mold. He fit that mold of someone they're not doing anything else. They just do the Tough Enough stuff. So he got himself a good gig for many years by doing that.
So let's talk about how these 50 candidates become 25, and then eventually they get down to 8 finalists. And the 8 finalists are John Mayer, Nick Mitchell, Mike Mizanin, Chris Nawrocki, Daniel Pewter, Ryan Reeves, and Justice Smith. Any of those names ring a bell?
Yeah, most of them do. The only one I don't remember who the hell John Mayer was. And Chris Nawrocki, I remember the name and I remember him. He's a big old bastard. But yeah, the rest of them ring some bells.
Ryan Reeves, of course, would go on to be Ryback. And Mike Mizanin, of course, is The Miz, and potential to draw down the line. More stress was put on size and appearance this year than in past years. John Laurinaitis is known to be more size-oriented than his talent relations VP predecessor, Jim Ross. Of the 8 finalists, all but 1 or 2 are taller than 5'10". Most are considerably taller. It is also a more physically mature and muscular group than in the past Tough Enough competitions. One of the early leading contenders to appeal to fans is Mike Mizanin, a former cast member of Real World, who has also worked some indie shows. He really impressed the 6 judges with his athleticism, but most of all his outgoing personality. He's got size at around 6 feet tall and 220 pounds. So Wade Keller predicted very early on that Mike Mizanin is going to be the star. When you saw these 8 finalists, of course we know 3 of these guys are going to go on to be names that we really know. Who did you think had the most upside?
Dan Rodimer, because he had the most personality. Then that's the first person I'm looking at. Rodimer was that kind of guy. He had a magnetic personality, big guy, good-looking son of a bitch, and he was special. He was different. And then number 2 probably would have been Miz, just because Miz you could put in any room with any group of people, and that little bastard could have him eaten out of the palm of his hand. It was here's a good Miz story. I rode Miz hard. I rode Miz and Morrison hard because they were such good kids, and everybody fucked with them. But there was something special about Miz because he loved the business. So does Johnny Nitro. But Miz, I would give him a hard time, and he would stay out, and he could party all night long and hang with everybody. But one morning, we're going through, and people are looking at him, but there was a family that was a grandmother who was traveling with her grandkids and like their parents, and this whole family was awestruck and starstruck by The Miz. And I remember going through security with Miz, and he just looks at me and says, "See, everybody loves me. They're just staring at them, but they love me." And that just cracked me up because this grandmother just was like all over Miz. She just loved him. She wanted to touch his arms and his chest and shit, and he liked to rub that in my face. But it was true. He appealed to everybody.
Wow. Let's talk about Vince here. You know, when you get down to 8 finalists, does Vince have any input on that, or is that all still the 6 judges?
Go do your show, and if you get something great, give me some good television.
Let's talk about the contract value here. You may recall the winner of this contract is going to be given, or the winner of this contest rather, is going to be given a 4-year contract worth $250,000 per year. Is the number chosen because you guys just wanted to be able to say it was $1 million contest? Is that how we got to this number?
Absolutely. Sounds big. It sounds like that's worth fighting for. It's $1 million.
Do any of the guys on the main roster really take exception to this, that you guys are essentially putting a greenhorn on that type of contract? A lot of these guys would have gotten there, cut their teeth going through developmental for $500 to $800 a week, and now you guys are going to run a TV show, and somebody is going to get a multiple of that on their first contract.
Yeah, absolutely. There are guys that were pissed off about that, but it's a stunt. It's a television show, and the majority can't pay you $250,000, but we can put you in training for $75 or $100 maybe. So that's the part that people don't understand. They just the boys are such marks. They'll look at it and go. They believe everything like everybody else. That the guy's gonna get $250,000 for 4 years, no matter what. That wasn't the way that it was worded. That's how it was, but yet there were loopholes in there.
So let's talk about the Boogeyman incident. Keller was right. That was an impressive candidate who made the first cut, but the downside on him was he was listed at being 30 years old. Nevertheless, the feeling was he had enough potential to be worth considering for the final 8, and when it came time for the final interviews, some of the judges suspected he may be a bit older than 30. He insisted he was 30, but when he was actually forced to show his driver's license, it revealed he was 40. Even at age 40, he might have made the final class you guys had here.
Have you ever seen the footage?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's hilarious because he stands there and vehemently denies. It just says, no, I'm 30 years old. I'm 30 years old. And then I'll get my license. And then, is your license? You have it on you now? It's in my car. It jumps out of the ring, runs to his car, and runs back, and it just as defiantly hands them his license that shows that he has been lying about everything up into this part. It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But Vince liked him. Vince liked the gumption. Thought he had a unique look.
Right away, when they get going with the show, there's a bit of a controversy when Big Show is doing a skit with the remaining contestants, and the skit is where they're supposed to talk smack to Big Show, and then in response, he body slams each of them. But I guess the allegation here is nobody knows how to properly sell a chop that really hurts. McMahon was set on body slams. Big Show agreed. But once they start taping the segment, they feel like maybe this is exposing body slams and that you have to have some sort of cooperation to make it look proper. What do you remember about this body slam and chop skit with Big Show that had some people talking?
Fucking hated it. Here's what happened. During this Tough Enough, Vince wanted segments, and I think it was on SmackDown. Yeah, it was on SmackDown. Vince wanted segments on the SmackDown show to promote Tough Enough. So each week now, we had to come up with a Tough Enough segment, some kind of Tough Enough contest that would give exposure to the Tough Enough talent. Well, everything we would come up with...
Feet down into a plank position, but you keep your arms extended, and then immediately return to your feet, back into the squat position, and then stand up. So, you know, they do these drills in wrestling and sometimes even in football, and the winner here is then going to get a shoot match with Kurt Angle. And unfortunately for Chris Naraki, he wins the competition, and Angle pretty much throws him around the ring for about 30 seconds, and I believe even broke one of his ribs in the process. And then he pins him. Before we go on, what are your memories of that? Any heat on Kurt? I mean, obviously accidents happen, but this is interfering with a television show.
No, you know, there was no heat on him. He did what he was supposed to do. The issue was that they wanted to have interaction with the WWE talent. So Paul Heyman wanted to have, and we've talked about this on the Heyman show, that you had to wash it down with. So you had to eat what was in front of you. You had to eat the fettuccine Alfredo, and you had to wash it down with the milk. Now, and one of them may have been buttermilk as well. So now you've been running like crazy. You've eaten all this pasta, drank all this milk. Now let's go run again. You run them some more. We've made them do squats. Now it's time for them to go out and do the competition thing. So now they got to do the squat thrusts and all that other crap. And the idea was to blow them up. Well, watching all this shit, I noticed Daniel Puder, he wasn't sprinting. He was just kind of jogging, and he wasn't going hard at all. Plus, he didn't eat. He wasn't eating his pasta. And I told Johnny, I said, hey, this motherfucker over here, you know, he's not eating, and he's not sprinting.
Hey guys, I'm home, about to have my dinner, and I'm ending my vlog. See ya.